FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
Cheers. I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 275 of Wise Advice. This one's coming out in the 1st of September. It's a brand new month. Time to get re-energized, refocused, redialed in, or continue on that path if you're there. And we talked about goal setting today, and we just talked about it a little bit in the Facebook group and watching the show here as it's being recorded. And one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to always reflect back to the previous month and find the things that you did right and repeat them. So a little mental exercise for you is at the end of this show, whenever you get a chance, take a moment, find 5 things that went well in August. It doesn't matter if it's how minor it is, but find 5 things, write them all down, and at the end, circle one of them and say, that's the one I want to do better with. And then set a goal around that. Be careful not to use the word more without quantifying what more is. So if it's a step goal, and you say, I want to walk more, put a number just ahead of that so that you can know. And so at the end of September, see how you did, continue to improve yourself. That's how we keep on growing and moving in the right direction. So thank you all for joining me live on Facebook. Thank you for listening in the Wise Advice app. If you haven't already, get into your app store, download the app. I'd appreciate it if you get an opportunity to go into your app store and review the app. That's kind of helps other people see the app and go, hey, this is something that may help me if I'm on a WW journey or even my own little healthy weight loss journey, whatever it takes. So if you go to do that, I'd certainly appreciate it. Let's go ahead and dive in out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Kaitlyn writes in first. She says, hey, dear FatDag, I'm writing this at 2:30 in the morning, mostly because I can't sleep due to the poor food and drink choices I made last night. And I'm not feeling well. I feel like I keep hitting rock bottom, which in a way I try and think of it as a positive. You know, the whole you can only go up from here thing. But instead of going up, I keep digging myself further into a hole. I'll give you some background about my journey. I started in 2017. It took a year and some, but I had lost 120 pounds. I was feeling great. I wasn't at goal, but I could feel myself heading that way. I loved how I felt in my clothes and all the compliments I was getting. I felt like I was finally able to live the life I've always wanted. Then, I guess life happened. I went on a vacation in September 2018 that I've not mentally been able to come back from. I kept self-sabotaging to the point that I gained 50 plus pounds back. I feel like a miserable failure. Most of my clothes I was so happy and comfortable in, they don't even fit. I'm self-conscious about how I look and everything that I wear, and while the nice compliments, well, they've stopped. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. I feel like a failure. I'm truly embarrassed. But anyway, I keep trying to dig myself out of this rut. I switched from being a WW online only to meetings. That helped for a little bit. I've reevaluated my why, which also helped for a little. I've joined a gym, and I started to work out regularly, and sometimes that helps until it doesn't. I've joined online groups for support. I'm always posting and connect, but nothing is sticking. I know that I'm the only one that can do this for myself, but it's like I forgot how. I'll have perfect weeks where I track everything and exercise, and then randomly I get tempted by something and I go on a binge that sometimes lasts for weeks. I feel like I don't know how to forgive myself for gaining the weight back. Sometimes I feel like the only way to have any joy in life is to eat anything and everything that I want until the point of being sick. I have no idea why I always tend to go back to that bad habit and why shoving more points into my mouth than I should probably eat in a week at one time sounds so comforting. but it is. I get excited when I can justify eating off plan until I'm half sick and remembering why I want to do this. I'm getting married in October, which is another reason why I feel guilty gaining the weight back. I'm just tired of feeling like eating everything all the time is the only way that I can be happy, when in reality, it's what's keeping me so unhappy. I guess I'll head to my WW workshop tomorrow and face a scale that I know will be up. I'm just so mentally worn down from this battle. I've been fighting it with myself. I don't really know where to go from here. Kaitlyn. Well, Kaitlyn, where you go from here is certainly up. And where you go from here determines what you want to get out of this. And so I want to go all the way back to the beginning, and I want to congratulate you on your 120-pound weight loss. You did that. You absolutely did that. That was 100% you. That was you saying, I understand what it's going to take to do this by following the mechanics of the program, by tracking, by at some point saying, no, the goal I have is more important than this miniature goal in front of me. And so you've done that. And so at 2:30 in the morning, as you decided to pen this, I think what you've done is beautiful here. You have connected all of these feelings to your choices of poor food and poor drink choices. And you opened up that in the very first email. In the very first sentence of email. Then you went on to say different things that you felt along the way. So clearly you are in tune with your feelings. And so the feeling of not being healthy, the feeling of being sick and overeating is tied to your sleep, is what's tying this whole thing together. I forgive you. And it's time for you to forgive yourself. No matter where you are in this journey, the most important thing you can always do is recognize that the person who's going to get you out of it is you. And so if you want to look at yourself as the failure, then what's happening is mentally you're preventing yourself from giving yourself the solution that worked before that you already did. You're certainly not a failure because you've done this before. And so now what we have to accommodate and we have to find is that, okay, the things I was doing before worked. Somewhere in the middle, I made some modifications that now don't support the new habits and the new goals that I want to have for myself. But nonetheless, you actually did lose 120 pounds. Period. Not a lot of people on the planet can say that. You can. And so if you've said it, then you can do it. And if you can do it, you can do it again. And so we have to really tap into the person who's going to do this for you, and that's you. Life will always happen. No matter who you are, no matter where you are on the journey, the term, and then I guess life happened, can apply to every single one of us. And how we react to that is how we define the future from here. The clothes you have in your closet, you still have them. You'll get back there. That's don't fret over that piece, because again, like I said, you've done this once, you can do it a million times. But one of the things I really need you to do more than anything is twice in your email, you use the word failure and you use it as an adjective to describe yourself. I want you to absolutely stop doing that. The reason that I know for a fact that you're not a failure is because in the middle of this journey, as you believe that you are, you took the time to reach out for help and you asked somebody for some guidance. People who fail don't do that. And so when you decide that you're not going to care, when you decide that you're not going to write in, when you decide that you're not going to attend your workshop, when you just completely check out of life, then maybe we can have a different conversation. But right now, you are so far from being a failure that you can't even see the word failure from where you're standing. So get rid of the embarrassment, get rid of the shame, bring out the pride. Bring out the pride in saying, hey, I'm at a point in my life where I don't know fully what's going on. I don't really know how to adjust, but what I know is I don't feel good. And what I know is at one point I used to feel good. And what I know is that I lost 120 pounds. And what I know is that I can do it again. Bring the pride back. You had it. You absolutely did. When you were rocking the 120-pound weight loss, you felt what that pride felt like. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to feel the pride now. Regardless of what you're internally thinking or feeling, I want you to feel that same level of pride. And I got news for you. It doesn't take but a good solid week of being back in the saddle to bring the pride piece back. And then sure, you continue working from that point on, the rest of it falls into suit. But you have a wedding coming up in October. Don't tell me there's no stress going on with that. I can't even imagine on top of everything else you got going on, you have that level of stress. But again, that's a celebration. That's a point in your life where you should be happy. You should be clearly focused on adding all these things together and presenting your best self regardless of what the scale says. Your future husband doesn't care. No one else cares. And so own your pride. Continue to be in the best place you can be healthily, happily, eating properly. You've said it more than once that you're sick and the food's making you sick. So recognizing that is what's doing it, and then now say, okay, I know how to change it. Don't worry about being mentally worn down. Be mentally strong. Don't ever give up. Thanks for reaching out. Reach out to the Wise Wingman community in the Facebook group. You know they're here for you for support. But one of the things, again, like we talked about, is just really focus on being the best self for you. Kaitlyn, thank you. I'm proud of you. I believe in you. We got this. The next email comes in out of Greece. Karen joins us, and you've probably seen her many times in the Facebook group. She says, "Hi, Mike. Hey, here's my story about my first year of mine, as I promised. Your community has given me so much, so this is my way to give something back. A year has gone by since I started changing my life, and what a great year it has been. Today, my weigh-in showed 216 pounds, which means I have lost 91.3 pounds within the first year on the program. 91.3 pounds. It sounds like Christmas bells in my ears. I'm really over the moon, and I've been dancing happily around the house this whole morning. This time, I'm not going to tell the story behind my driving force, my huge whys, because I've already done that in episode 246. This is going to be about my 1-year journey in the hopes that I'll be able to inspire or motivate at least one person with my story. On the 10th of April, 2018, I made the decision to do what it takes to become the person that I've been dreaming of for decades. And at that time, I was at a weight of 307.3 pounds, and I'd been trying to get myself together for 7 months after being insulted very badly by a very rude doctor during my 12-day stay at the hospital after a serious operation. Some days earlier in March, while surfing the internet, some Weight Watcher recipes suddenly popped up in front of me and on the screen, and I remembered the program which my sister, home in Denmark, had sent me some years earlier. I decided to give it a serious try because I felt that this was my final call. We don't have Weight Watchers here in Greece, so I knew it was going to be a one-man show for me. Well, that's what I thought. I had never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would find friends on the other side of the Atlantic that would become like a family to me and who would be my everyday support, my motivation, inspiration, and my teachers, my awesome wingmen. As a teacher, I know how important it is to listen. Yes, really listen to others who know what they're talking about through their experiences. So that's what I did. I began reading other people's posts, listening to FatDag's amazing podcast, and tried to apply their stories and advice into my own journey. I realized I had to get up from the very comfortable chair of mine and begin to move around more. So I began going for 15 to 20-minute walks. Here I have to say I hadn't been exercising for about 25 years, so that alone was a huge accomplishment for me. Then summer came. Oh boy, another big problem is I'm incredibly afraid of snakes. So gone were my walks in the countryside. However, I made a commitment to myself. So in search of an alternative kind of exercise, I came across Leslie Sanson's walking videos on YouTube, and they came as a miracle to me. I managed with about 300 pounds then to do 15 minutes, about a mile a day. Was it hard? Oh yes, it certainly was. But I knew that in order to get results, I had to get out of my comfort zone. I did that through the whole summer, and then I steadily began increasing the minutes. I now do 30 to 60 minutes daily of exercise, and I love it. Who would have thought 1 year ago that I would now be jumping around in my living room every morning feeling great about exercising? A new lifestyle, new habits, a new mindset. Now, to the second part of my change. my eating habits. I decided from the very beginning that I would stay true to the program Points Plus. My fellow losers and above all, myself, I've been tracking everything from day one because I know that if I cheat no one but myself. Good or bad, everything is tracked. And lots of water, about 12 glasses, 3 liters a day. I've made the toilet the most visited room in our house, but that is what it takes me to lose weight, so that's what it must be. Remember, everyone, lots of water. Water and exercise increase the metabolism unbelievably. Another thing was that during previous attempts of losing weight, I always stopped because I got tired of not being allowed to eat some foods that I like. So the thing that I needed was a balance in my diet, which I would be able to make a lifelong lasting habit. I didn't use my weeklies during the first month, but I changed my mind as the weeks went by. I read that most fellow losers use most of them, and they are there to be used. Since then, I usually eat about half of them on the weekend so as to satisfy my sweet tooth or eat something with a little higher points, but even that is done in a way wiser way. I've learned to make much healthier choices, and as what's really helped me is that I always ask myself, is what I'm about to put in my mouth worth the points, or should I use those points on something else? That has really helped me, and it's the reason why I've managed to make it my new lifestyle. Not too fanatical, but I've changed my mindset, and I said I'm tracking everything. The result of all this has been an average weight loss of about 1.8 pounds a week all these months, and as I wrote in the very beginning, a total weight loss of 91.3 pounds in a year. Is that awesome, or what? I've managed to remove a whole person from my body, and I feel so great. I've gone down from a size 32 to an 18. Can you believe that? I can go into a shop and actually find clothes in my size. By the way, I still can't get used to that. Within the last year, my daily knee pain has almost disappeared, and 4 months ago, I stopped taking my blood pressure pills, so for the first time in decades, I don't need any medicine at all. I can play with our wonderful 3-year-old granddaughter for hours without even getting tired, and I spend so much quality time with her now. Looking into her beautiful, sparkling, happy eyes when we play together, it's one of the most touching things in my life. The praise of family and friends has given me so much self-confidence, and I feel comfortable being around those other people again. I know that some people don't like others commenting on their weight loss, but for me, it works in the exact opposite way. It gives me strength and willingness to keep going, and it makes me incredibly proud of myself. I'm finally allowing myself to feel pretty again. I've been able to get my life back, and I've proven to everybody that if you want something bad enough, you can do it. There's no doubt in my mind that at the end of this year, I will have reached my long-term goal, which is about 140-pound weight loss. And then I can begin maintenance just like so many others before me. I've been inspired and motivated by so many of you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And for you, Mike, I want to tell you something very important to me. After reading my story in episode 246, you called me a champ. You can't imagine how much that means to me. You made me realize even more how much I had managed to turn difficult times in my life around and make myself even stronger. And I will always be deeply thankful to you for that. You managed to make me even more determined to succeed at a difficult moment that your words always came true to my mind and reminded me of the person I used to be and I want to be. Oh, those years ago, I won the Danish Judo Championship and a place on the national team, but this time, I've won something even bigger. I won my life back. Being part of this amazing community of yours means so much to me, and I hope that by telling about this for the first year of mine, it will be able to give back to the group of people that has so stood by me the whole time, my wingman family. I believed in the program from the very first moment, and now I believe, and I'm sure that I can do this. So to all of you wonderful people listening, I have one thing to say. Believe in yourselves and do what it takes to succeed. Not all journeys are easy, but by bearing your why and your destination in mind, you will eventually get there. Find your whys and make them your driving force to success. I'm never going back to where I was, and neither should you. So let's do this. Let's become champs of life. I believe you. Your Danish wingman in Greece, Karen. Karen, what a champion you continue to be. Great email. I'm so proud of you. Size 18. How awesome is that? I can believe it. 1.8 pounds per week to give you a total weight loss. Let's see here, 91.3 pounds. It's incredible. You're on your way to 140. You're clearly going to get there, and I'm incredibly honored and proud to be walking this journey with you. I want to hit on a couple things that you said, but perhaps the most important one is you sharing your journey back to the community. I think a lot of times we overlook that. One of the things that is the most powerful thing we have is the gift of learning from each other. Right? I'm not the expert here. I try and find the episode where I told you I'm the expert. I don't believe it exists. If I did, it was a mistake because I clearly am not the expert. So one of the things that we know is by learning from other people, by you writing in your journey, by you writing in your story, and someone else is reading it right now and going, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, I can do this as well. And I had no idea there was someone else doing the exact same thing I'm trying to do. And so you have now taken the doubt out of someone else's mind. And so we have to learn from each other. And there's a very powerful reason for this. And I meant to look this up ahead of the time, and I forgot to get a chance to do it. But one of the things that I heard the other day, which I thought was extremely powerful, is that there is not enough time for us all to do all of the mistakes that are out there that can be done. So if you're not going to live long enough to make all of the mistakes that are possible to make. So what we have to do is we have to learn as other people navigate this journey and say, hey, this works, this doesn't work. Let's continue to try the things that work. And by you writing in and sharing the things that are working for you, then now you're allowing other people to now travel in the same footsteps as you. So that's an amazing, amazing insight that you shared. And as a teacher, you certainly know that to be true, is that we have to learn from each other. Everything we know, someone learned first and they taught it to someone else, and it just keeps getting passed down from generation to generation. And more importantly, it gets refined, tweaked, and modified. And that's where the success comes from. So we build on each other's success to create our own success. 91.3 pounds. That's incredible work. You did that. All you, 100% you, even though I love that you credit the community for being there, being your wingman. I believe it's very valuable to be a part of that community. But nonetheless, you can't take the credit away from the person who did it. That's you. That was 100% you. So keep up the amazing focus, the amazing determination, and continue to share in the great group of folks who are in the Wise Wingman Facebook group. Continue to share in there. But again, don't let it ever get lost that it was all you doing it. Now, the other part, your eating habits. And so, deciding from the very beginning that you want to stay true to the program, I think that's kind of the how of how we do this, right? Is there is a plan in place. And so we have to be deeply rooted in why we do this. That's important. I think that's the driving force to say, hey, I know why that, if I'm going to eat this, do I want this? Yes or no? Would I rather use the points on this, or would I rather save them for something I really need, like dinner? So that decision gets made on, you balance it against your why. I always say, ask yourself, do I want pizza or do I want goal? Right? You certainly can have both, but not in the same quantity. And so you have to, at some point, make the choice to choose goal. And so that's what you've done by asking yourself, are these points do I want, or do I want something else? But by you changing your eating habits in that manner, you said, okay, I'm going to do this. And so good, bad, or indifferent, you wrote down every single thing, and that got you to the point where you started giving yourself an education. Water, water, water. I don't think anyone disagrees with you on that. That is a great recipe for success. I was chatting with someone earlier, even in the restaurant world, right? You go to any restaurant, a soda or something like it's like $3. You take a family of 5 over dinner, and every single one of you gets a soda. That's more than the tip is going to be on the bill. And that's in sugar. So water is all around for this house, and we make it certainly save a lot of money, and it's certainly a lot more fun as well. So getting tired, you bring up a point that I wanted to kind of discuss, and I think it's where a lot of us go, oh, okay, we grew up eating a certain way. And at some point when we reached our goal, there were things we had to make a decision that no longer fit in our journey or not in the quantity to which we're used to having them. And so when you feel that feeling of, I'm not allowed to have that's a recipe for danger. We know you're certainly allowed to have whatever you want, but where the balance comes into is I am allowed to, but do I want to? And so that's the question each of us individually are going to have to answer. But I don't want us to really get to the habit of saying I'm not allowed to have that. I just got to figure out how my body reacts to doing it. You have found out using your weeklies, and I'm a big fan of saying use your weeklies and make sure that they're there to be used. But there's some caveats to that. And so a lot of us are already using them. We're just not accounting for them. So then if you use them, you're actually overeating, if that makes sense. So a typical example is, say you get 23 points a day, and you don't track your ketchup, you don't track your coffee creamer, you're not tracking the 2 Hershey's Kisses you pulled off the counter, and then you're using your weeklies and going overboard there, then actually what you've done for the day is you've eaten more than you needed to on plan. So if you're going to use your weeklies, which I clearly support, if you're going to, then you've got to be really accurate with the tracker so that you truly know that you're holding yourself accountable to the number that's going to move the scale in your direction. So last but not least, I'm just incredibly proud of the focus that you put into this. I'm incredibly proud of the belief of your mindset where you finally now believe that you can do this. And so there's no doubt in my mind either that by the end of the year, 140-pound weight loss is yours. You're on the path to success. You're clearly succeeding. You know what you want, and you're going after it. That's what champions do. Champions get up every single morning and say, hey, what do I need to do to hit this goal? And they knock them out one by one by one. That's why I called you a champion. Had nothing to do with everything else. And regardless of where you are in life, you're going to be a champion if you wake up every single morning, set a goal, check it off, knock it out, look it right in the eyes, and just boom, take it out. So Karen, congratulations. You're a champion, and there's so many of us that can't wait to join you on the medal stand and have that medal wrapped around us and say, hey, we are a champion as well. And I think every single one of us in the Facebook group will join you. So again, Karen, thank you all the way from Greece. It warms my heart every single time I see you. I know that the time difference is really difficult, but it's so nice to see you online so many times. So thank you. And last, but thank you for sharing and educating the rest of the community. Out of Monaca, Pennsylvania, Mary writes in, says, hi, FatDag. My name is Mary. I've listened to your podcast for over 2 years. As an initial online-only member, your episodes were the closest thing to a meeting I had during my journey. As a current studio member, I still regularly supplement my meetings with your episodes. Thank you for providing support, tools, and encouragement through yours and the other members' stories to both WW Online Only and studio members. Yesterday, I celebrated my 1-year lifetime anniversary. As many of us have, I have gained and lost weight throughout many of the years, but I never focused on why I wanted it other than the goal of losing weight. Identifying my whys was the light bulb moment that I needed to commit. However, I found that I struggled even more with redefining my why as I transitioned to a lifetime member. Having listened to your podcast, I knew I could go through your questions to help me with it. It was incredibly challenging to sit down and go through the questions and truly open up to my why. I cried as I drafted and refined my why and found the entire experience emotionally healing. I encourage all members who have not completed the exercise to take the time and write down their own story and identify their own why. Here's my story, my why. In 2012, at 258 pounds, I joined WW Online. No one would have asked me why. It was obvious. Yet, I didn't fully commit. I now know that it's because I didn't know my why. It took succeeding at a decade-long career goal of mine, getting my PhD, and becoming a tenured professor to focus on my why. Although I was very proud of my professional accomplishments, I felt like everything positive had an asterisk. Being obese was my asterisk. No matter my positives, I could never escape the negatives I faced nearly every single day. That I was pre-diabetic and my health issues were related to my weight. That my physical limitations influenced whether I accepted social invitations, clothes shopping separately from friends and family, avoiding being in pictures or hiding in the back when I was being angry at myself for feeling like I was failing at being my best self. My why became a commitment to remove the asterisk. In 2016, at 233 pounds, I chose to refocus on my weight loss in the same way I had focused and succeeded in my career. I knew I needed a plan. I'd never canceled my online membership and the 25 pounds I had lost through WW Online, so I chose to recommit to the WW plan. I knew it wouldn't be a straight path and that it wouldn't be quick, but for the first time, I was fully committed. Finding my why has helped me stay committed. It took nearly 2 more years to lose an additional 75 pounds as an online-only member. I found the idea of maintenance terrifying, and I decided to take the next step and join the studio. I walked in the door having already lost 100 pounds, being at a WW healthy weight and feeling very unsure of the meetings. However, I committed to joining a studio for 6 months and seeing this next chapter through. After losing 105.2 pounds total, I earned lifetime. I didn't share my accomplishments in the meeting as I'd only been there a few weeks and I rarely, if I ever, spoke during those meetings. Over the last year, I still attended meetings weekly and now I appreciate all that they have to offer the members. I slowly started to speak up in meetings and now regularly speak during my weekly meetings. I've gained confidence and enjoy interacting with the other members. It took several months, but I even got the strength to share my story and the total weight loss. One thing I had not expected is that I'm questioned by many people in my life who know my journey, why I continue WW. This question, combined with your podcast focus on finding your why, encouraged me to return to my why. Initially, I found I was angry with myself for weighing 258 pounds and not committing sooner. However, I now recognize that I deserve gratitude as I was the one who believed my asterisk could be removed. I was the one who took the first step of joining and then recommitting to WW. I applaud her for seeing that my current self was possible. If it was not for her, I would not be me. My why is to continue to be gracious to her for bringing me to my current place. I am living my best life. It is because of her that everything I said above that were negatives in my life truly no longer exists for me. When I was obese, I made the decision to do this. The best way I know how to be thankful for making that decision is to keep being focused and stay on the WW plan. Thanking her, me, is my why. Thank you, FatDag, for being a strong proponent to pushing us all to find our why. I wish you all good focus. Mary, what an amazing, amazing journey. 105.2 pounds was all you. You made that happen. And I'm glad to see, as I read through your email, I'm glad to see that you recognize that. And more importantly, I'm glad to see that the person who did that, the person who started this journey, the person who decided to change their life was someone who believed that the future was possible. And I made a note in your email where it talks about your professional accomplishments and your decades-long career goal of getting your PhD and what that must have felt like the day that you were awarded that. And I'm guessing it pales in comparison to now what it feels like to be the amazing rock star that you are. But nonetheless, I think what's important is the similarity between those two things. Is you can't show up to college on Monday morning, 4 years into the making or 8 years into the making, and expect someone to hand you a diploma, right? You have to show up for class every single day. There are nights where you have to decide that you don't want to go out and party because you actually have a test in the morning. And there are days when you spend all weekend studying, when you're actually turning down invitations to do other fun things. There are nights you're cramming for tests. You can't accidentally get awarded a PhD. If you could, I'd love to have one, but I don't think accidentally it can get awarded to you. You had to make a goal, and you had to make a commitment, and you had to say, I know I can do this, and you had to follow the plan. If that doesn't sound like what we're doing here in this WW world, I want you to rethink through that. There are times when you're going to have to say no because you have a test in the morning. That test is your workshop, right? And it's not that it's a test in that sense, but you know where I'm going with that. There are times when you're going to have to, multiple days in a row, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to read the materials. You're going to have to write some papers. You can't accidentally show up at goal. You can't accidentally get a PhD. But what you can do is, no matter where you are in your life, you can go, I know there's a plan in place. I've seen other people find success using this plan. You weren't the first one in the world to get a PhD. There were other people who charted that course for you. You followed their actions and watched them do it. The same thing happens here. And so as you sit down and you drafted and you crafted your why, I'm thrilled in a loving way. I'm thrilled that it brought tears. Because when it brings tears, it means you finally have gotten to the emotional root of what's going on. And as you looked at yourself and said, I can do this. And my why is to remove the asterisk. My why is to get rid of the excuse that I've been harboring for so long that much of this is my fault. And you instantly turned into your number one fan. You were your biggest cheerleader. You were the one that said, I can do this. And you were the one that said, no matter what, I'm doing it. And gaining that confidence and enjoying interacting with people continued to grow, where you said, okay, I want to keep this. So starting off in a very angry place is somewhat normal, but we instantly have to get to the point where we say, hey, if anyone is going to do this, it's not going to happen accidentally. No one's going to give this to you. This is not a gift you can give someone else. The only person who can make a change in your life is you, right? And so you sit down with the 5 questions of why, and you talk about, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to do, and what are your expectations, and what's in your way, and who is responsible for your success, and do you believe you can do it? When you write a story to yourself that encompasses those 5 questions, you instantly say, I can do hard things. I'm capable of some very difficult things, but what it takes is for me to get rid of the baggage and know that if it's going to happen, I have to do it. And I love myself for saying I can. And I love myself for saying I'm going to. And so when you had obesity, you made the decision to do this. The decision to do this was very powerful. You took it one step further. You took it one step beyond the decision, and that was the application. Every single day you showed up. Through the good, through the bad, you continued to do it. And you used the power of your why to get it done. Mary, your email was absolutely incredible, and I'm incredibly proud of you. I hope it comes through in my tone and my voice here, because it's the only way. I mean, if we were in person, I'd walk up to you and give you a great big old hug if you're a hugging kind of person. If not, we'd high five. But I would just want to sit in your presence of awe and say, yeah, you did this. Congratulations. You've completely changed your life. You did that. So continue to celebrate, continue to spread the joy in your workshop. I'm proud of you for attending and sharing your story with all of your workshop members. You're an incredible inspiration. Other people need to see that this is doable, possible, and if you put in the effort, you can do it. So Mary, again, thank you so much. It's an honor to celebrate with you. I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you. Folks, that's what celebrating looks like. When you realize that your whole life is ahead of you, when you realize that you're the one making the change, when you realize that you did it and life is just differently better, it's worth celebrating. I want to know what it is that you're celebrating. Go ahead and share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice podcast link, send in your celebrations, your comments, and questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. You see why it's valuable to share. Because I don't have all the answers, and certainly each of us collectively, our lives are so different. We need to find other people walking the same path as we are. I want you to email in those celebrations so that you can share that, because I really want you to be proud of what you're doing. But that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Get your PhD, set your sights on your goals, and go after it. On behalf of my producers, Heather and Lisa, we wish you Thank you for listening to the Wise Advice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit fatdag.com, click on Become a Patron today.